Good afternoon, class. I apologize for not being able to attend live the Zoom session this evening. I am currently doing my duties as a Dean of Students at the West Charlotte Senior High School basketball game, which probably some of you have seen on the news. The team that we are playing, there has been a lot of racial tension. So my principal has required all administrative staff to be on the sidelines at the game. However, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and dive into the two case studies that Group 6 was responsible for, and I'm going to start with case 24, which was entitled The Vision Theme. In this case, which was very familiar to me, and I'm sure familiar to some of you, just with the aspects of the five pressing issues that we found as we read the case study. One being the low morale of the teachers. Another was the high discipline rate, or the discipline was just poor for the students. Decline in public achievement, lack of support from parents, as well as parents deciding to attain waivers to take their students out of Willis School and place them someplace else. So for that, with all of those issues, of course, is a snowball effect of everything else. That particular school is just not performing where they should be because of, first of all, in my opinion, and as April and Elaine have also stated, everybody's not on the same playing field. The vision and the mission statement is, for lack of better words, not even seen. No one knows about it. The two group of people that are at odds are, of course, the teachers. The teachers are blaming the parents, and parents are blaming the teachers. The teachers are saying that the students don't want to learn. There has been a change in the pupil population. And then the parents are saying that the teachers don't know how to teach their students. Another common, sometimes myth, and another common statement that I hear a lot of times as a dean of students. One resolution that came to my mind as I read this was everyone is still in the blaming stage. So there needs to be some types of activities for them to come together, them being the students, the teachers, as well as the community to come together to benefit and support the principal as well as the students in order for them to be be successful. When we're looking at the questions, the first question was, what are some reasons why teachers were reluctant to participate with parents on the school vision committee? Well, first of all, there's no trust. The trust is not there. They are both blaming one another, and probably if you set them down in a room, they probably would not even listen to one another. So to get a vision committee together or developed is a good thing for the principal to do. But at this point in time, there needs to be some forefront of things to be done prior to getting a vision committee, unless that vision committee has very strategic and specific and clear norms and non-negotiables that will be in that meeting. Also, bringing in the policies and procedures from the school. There has to be some, and if there is not, that needs to be the first thing. Some activities, or what could Ed do to facilitate an honest exchange of ideas between faculty and parents at the beginning of the year, or even now, having some type of retreat. Let's take a step back. He could share his vision. If he does not have a vision, he being the principal, Ed Leary being the principal, not have that vision, then it would be at that time that you need to possibly call in your superintendent to help you coerce or figure out what that vision is. One thing that, as I went back and started looking, I picked up the 5 levels of leadership from John Maxwell, And it was production is not enough. Beliefs that help a leader move up to level 4. And even before that, it was the law of buy in, having your people buy into the leader and the vision. Those are the two things for this to be rectified and for that vision committee to be to act in accordance. I'm sorry, I hear some kids outside my door. Some examples that we came up and feedback that we gave was, of course, share his vision with his parents and faculty, and then ask for their feedback. Having a joint meeting. Set up a school improvement team, which I think is very vital in order to run a school so that you can get a non bipartisan feedback from those that work in your school as well as the committee. And he could pick a positive teacher slash leader to chair that particular team. I also talked about having retreats for the administrative staff. If you don't have a vision, well, let's help him get that vision, looking at what they can and can't control and go forth from there. Then, after that retreat takes place, you may possibly have a retreat amongst your department chairs or your teacher leads to get them on one accord, to get their buy-in and intake into what the mission statement or the vision should be for that school to start alleviating some of the pressing issues, especially with the teacher morale being so low. If you have teacher morale low, then you have a high teacher absentee rate. Therefore, subs are coming in. Therefore, student achievement is not being reached. Develop particular games, game activities, or times for social activities. One comes into mind that my principal does occasionally is that have donut and coffee with the principal. And that's the opportunity for not only the community to come in, but for the parents to come in and just have an open conversation about the strengths and weaknesses of the school, and not really getting into a go back and forth battle of what's going on. But then also at that time is to come up with some solutions, some critical solutions, some realistic solutions that could also be brought into the vision committee if the principal still would like to go forth with that, which I think is a great idea. The third question, given the controversy surrounding collaboration between parents and faculty, if you were the principal, would you continue to encourage a shared decision-making model at Ed School? If no, what other leadership approaches would you use to obtain your objectives? I personally would encourage the shared decision making model. However, there needs to be a lot of stipulations. It needs to be some program evaluation being implemented so that we can really figure out what the problem is, what the issue is. He has to also start cultivating relationships. He has to let his staff, his students, his parents see that he is basically in the trenches with them, asking them those critical questions, but allowing the teachers and the parents and the students asking him those critical questions to figure out what is the issue, what really is the issue at this day and age, and how can we make it better? Is it a solvable situation? Is it something that we can get past so that PLCs can be created within the different content areas? The school leadership team can be productive, as well as the vision committee team can be productive. I would also pull in to help with the discipline, the NTSS, the multi-tiered services, so that we can start getting handling on the behaviors, which could be directly aligned to the low student or low teacher morale, as well as the rift between the parents and the teachers. Number four, would Ed be well advised to accept the Parent Teacher Association offers to set up a hall patrol squad as a means to deter discipline problems? What issues does this offer raise for Ed as a school principal? I would not recommend, as well as Elaine and April all concurred, We would not recommend him doing this because of the rift that is between the staff and the parents. There would not get anything done. You would just have a lot of people who are already discouraged about the state, and they would not buy into anything that anyone possibly brings to the table. I would, if this is something that he really is adamant about doing, and sees the good in it, or the pros kind of outweigh the cons at the end of the day, I probably would bring in an outside source, a mediator, to talk about what is the issues and to discuss the non-negotiables and to give us goals that we can make sure that we are aligning our decisions and conversations towards. He should probably look at who brought this idea to him, and if it's one of the parents who are always negative, then I definitely would have him decline to that at this point, because there are so many other things that need to be fixed, quote unquote, that a patrol squad bringing your parents into the school, that would just give them more ammunition to have more issues and more concerns, and then here you have more low teacher morale. So it's just a snowball effect. So we all agreed that this probably would not be the best idea to have at this time. But at the end of the day, for this particular case study, I would ask, what is your vision? You know, now we are on the road of being principals or admins. We need to start thinking about our vision, looking at the kids that we work with, looking at the parents that we work with, and taking these issues that Ed has come into place. What is the vision? And should that have been something that was developed and established first? And lastly, would such have eliminated a lot of the following issues that Ed has come up with? I'm going to stop here for the first case study, and then I will get back to you when someone punches that button and we can review the next case study 24. Hello guys, I'm back to discuss the next case study that Group 6 had. It was chapter 25, and it was serving two masters. In this particular case study, which was a good and a bad thing, in my opinion, Jim Wynn, who was the principal of Temple School, it was considered a model school and that everyone wanted to go to, and students were respectful, they were very high achieving, good relationships with the faculty, the parents, the students, as well as the entire community. And Jim had a assistant principal who he really depended upon, which in my opinion, and as I look across my um, groups feedback, we both agreed dependent on him a little bit too much as a principal. When we were in the other class, excuse me, Dr. Lamb made sure that we understood, we everything came back to us as a principal. We are the brand, we are the name for whatever school that we are assigned to. Therefore, we need to know all that's going on. It's okay to delegate, but to not have any clue about what is going on, therein lies the problem. So, for this particular case, the assistant principal, Charlie Montgomery, was the budget and the chief administrator. So he knew all that was going on with the budget. He was able to provide the principal, Jim, with substantiated budget and data and money thing. Anything that dealt with money, he was able to provide him with that. So with that being said, here lies the issue. The superintendent, who was one that really challenged his principals, but he also had a lot of faith in the principal at this school, and he knew that he was a go-getter. He knew that if he provided him with an assignment or with a task, that task, Jim would get that task done. So for this particular request by the superintendent, there was to be a school by school review of the budgetary appropriations, which is very common in all schools, especially around this time because you're getting ready for next year and you need to close out, and the superintendent or the school system needs to know where these schools are spending their money. So that really wasn't out of the norm. What was out of the norm to all of us in our group is the fact that the principal didn't have a clue. So, for the first question, should Jim order his assistant principal? Because at this time, when the presentation was supposed to be done, I believe on April 1st, which was 6 weeks away, his assistant principal, Charlie, informed him that he really needed to go to his son's game and to be there for his son, which a lot of times as leaders, we have that difficulties in just balancing the two. However, he really wanted to be there for his son's game, and he informed the principal, Jim, of this. Of course, Jim became a little upset, and he expected him to be there. So this is where the first question comes into. Should Jim order his assistant principal to attend the budget meeting for the school at the of the Board of Education meeting? I apologize. Um, we both agreed across the board that um, he being Jim, should not order his principal to attend this budget meeting, because at the end of the day, like I said previously, Jim is the voice for this school. It's okay to delegate, but it is your responsibility as a principal, as a leader, to know what is going on in your school, who's in your school, where monies are being transferred to, and where they're being allocated to. So, with that being said, um, he should, at that time, it should have been a crucial conversation, with it being 6 weeks away, that Jim and Charlie get together to review the presentation. Because what if, God forbid, what if Charlie gets sick and really is not able to attend, and Jim does not know anything that's going on? If that is not something that can be discussed with the superintendent to see if he can get a later date, which in my opinion is very unprofessional, but to see if he can get a later date, then the two of them need to start being prepared for this presentation with Charlie not being there. Even if it was a case of Charlie coming the first half and then leaving, so he still could be a parent, be a father, attend to his family, and Jim, whose main responsibility, which is the school, to be able to continue this presentation. I don't think that there are many benefits. April stated that she doesn't believe there are any, except direct ones to Jim, because he doesn't have to be responsible. What I stated in terms of, for question two, what are the benefits and drawbacks if Jim should direct Charlie to attend the meeting? The benefits is Charlie demonstrating that he is very loyal to Jim. So you're being loyal to your principal, but then at what cost? You're probably costing the support from your family. Also, continuation of positive outlook from the superintendent. At this point, the superintendent really doesn't know the ins and outs of this relationship. He just sees that it is a good setting, it's a good fixture. It's it, the principal is able to complete tasks in a timely manner, and he has a good rapport and it has good data. So the piece of Charlie doing the budget and Charlie being that chief administrator, the superintendent really doesn't know a lot about. So hence, you still get the good looks from the superintendent. The drawbacks, however, is the friendship that has been made between Charlie and the principal, Jim. Will that, and it possibly could be, um, a negative effect? Because that's when you get into, do you care about me? And the principal caring about outside of the school. Yes, I'm a good team member, but I also am a team member to my family. So do you even care about my self welfare or self care? That people development outside of the production. So, because Charlie will miss another event in which Jim really needs him to attend another event for his child. So, what does that look like? What are the dynamics around that friendship, which will probably be hit in a negative way? Not right then, but maybe progressively. Number three, how would Jim's decision affect his relationship with his assistant principal and with the superintendent? Kind of already spoke about that, but it will definitely start ruining his friendship, as well as the collegiality with his AP. And it might even start rolling over into the staff because, sad to say, people talk, and then therefore your morale of the teacher or just that trust and that caring issue may come into play. And relationship with the superintendent may be continue to be positive. However, if the superintendent learns about what duties Charlie has and how much of that rolls into Jim's lack of skill set in that area, it might be a negative connotation on Jim at the end of the day when he gets his evaluation because that's something that he's supposed to know. Number four, what alternatives can you suggest to resolve Jim's dilemma? Jim needs to learn about data. He needs to learn about the database that is being used to collect all of this data. He needs to learn about the budget and the line items and what codes go with what particular specific PD or what codes go for teacher allotment. Again, that's his responsibility. Um, he needs to uh, also look or ask for maybe a postponement, and that would be for me my last resort because to me that speaks of your professional ethics and you being prepared, and then that counteracts what the superintendent already thinks about Jim, which is one who can get a task completed in a timely manner. And then also seeing if Charlie can be available for the first half and then leave. If they're not able to come as one and do a role play or a script and write that out so that Jim can be prepared for this budget. And then after that, Charlie needs to start coaching Jim on the budget and possibly having a crucial conversation with the superintendent and say, hey, look, this is my weakness. I need some help in this. Lastly, number five, discuss Jim's leadership style in relation to the faculty, to Charlie and Anthony. Well, what we said, he needs to lock down with the faculty and they respect him. That's very evident. And he also respects them. However, as I've said throughout this presentation, he depends on his AP too much. And he's given him that task, and that's a good thing to do, to delegate and be able to delegate, be able to balance your duties as a principal. But again, it goes back. You are the face of that school, and anything that goes on in that school. dealing with money, dealing with discipline, dealing with teachers, anything. So you need to be able to answer those questions when they come. You also need to know about the unhealthy relationships that may come about. And so with Jim's leadership style, that is a high possibility that that may happen because of him depending on Charlie so much and not being able to take some of those responsibilities back. Now I pose the question to you: if you were to come across this situation, for example, we had a teacher who took a sick day, and during that sick day, she told, or prior to that sick day, she told another teacher that she was not going to be at school. She was going to be getting um, her dreads combed out or her hair done, and that's why she wasn't coming to school. Well, that teacher, who is best friends with our assistant principal, of course, came and told the assistant principal. Now the assistant principal, you know, feels some type of way, for lack of better words. As an administrator, how should we handle that if we have good rapport with our staff, same as Jim does? But here again, here's that glitch. I thank you for allowing me to do this, to present in this manner. I'm sorry that I'm missing the actual collaborative voices that are going on, but Dr. Laws, please accept my apology and also my thanks for allowing me to provide this presentation in this manner. Thank you guys. Bye-bye.